My name is Sridhar and I'm the founder of herhealthcare.co.uk. Today, what I'd like to speak about is what to wear in the hot weather. Because let's be honest, over the last few days, you may have noticed that the temperature has been going up and boy is it getting hot in here. So there are 5 particular things that I'm going to go through. Firstly, let's take it from the top. So wearing a hat, a cap, or even thinking about a sun umbrella is something that we should all be considering when we're going outside. And with that, hand in hand, to protect our eyes from the UV ray of sunshine, we should of course be considering sunglasses with UV ray protection. Whilst we're thinking about protecting our eyes from UV rays, what about our skin, you may be wondering? So the third thing, the next thing I would be thinking about wearing is of course sunscreen. Now, there are a couple of factors to consider here. Firstly, what type of sunscreen you're wearing, so the SPF factor, be it 15, 30, maybe even 50, but also reapplying that as needed, particularly if you're going out for a swim or if it's been a while since you've last applied sunscreen. But let's get to the meat of the substance. What are we actually going to wear? There are 2 factors in particular that I would be thinking about when it comes to our clothing. Firstly, wearing loose clothing and thinking about layering, and in fact long-sleeved loose clothing can be quite helpful when you're facing the fierce afternoon sun. The second factor, of course, is if you're in an AC environment, then having another layer can be really helpful. The other factor when it comes to clothing is to make sure that you're wearing natural fibres. That includes cotton and linen, for example, simply because they tend to be cooler. So those are the 4 key factors to bear in mind. There's one other, it's a little bit more intimate, but just as important. And that is, of course, our underwear. Now you can imagine if you're wearing synthetic, tight underwear in heat, that generates a lot of irritation for the skin, which isn't great. Equally, can harbour sweat and bacteria and be a recipe for infection. So if ever there was a time to consider natural loose underwear, believe it or not, the hot weather is it. Now, in conjunction with all of those 5 factors, we will of course be trying to avoid the midday and afternoon sun when the heat is at its most ferocious. But it's not always possible, right? So as well as wearing our hat, putting on our sunglasses, putting on sunscreen, wearing layers of loose linen or cotton clothing, and wearing the right underwear, trying to walk in the shade for the shortest amount of time possible with a bottle of water is a great idea. So just to recap, the 5 things we've talked about when it comes to wearing clothes in the hot weather include wearing a hat or a cap, wearing sunglasses, wearing sunscreen, loose items of layered clothing with natural fibres, and avoiding tight synthetic underwear. I hope that's been helpful. My name is Sridhar and this is on behalf of herhealthcare.co.uk. Thank you.